Hello, you can't escape from us, we're back. Now, we return to local news with Sonia.
The blind auditions are over, and 48 pop star wannabes have made it through to the next stage of The Voice. Among them is 24-year-old North Londoner Vangelis Polidorou, who landed a spot on Boy George's team with his rendition of Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? We found out more about the half-Greek, half-Scottish singer. Where do you live? I was born in Archway, but live in Hornsey, so close to Crouch End, with my mum and sister. Which schools did you go to? I went to St Joseph's Primary School in Highgate. Then secondary school, I went to Finchley Catholic High School, and then college, City and Islington, where I studied music. What's your day job? I used to work at Cook, which made handmade frozen food. I gave my notice in 3 weeks ago, though, so I'm currently unemployed. Let's hope the competition goes well, ha ha. When did you start singing? I started singing from the age of 4, but I started gaining a bit more confidence when I was 11 and knew I wanted to be a singer. I've worked hard on my voice. Where have you performed locally? I haven't really performed locally, if I'm honest. I did a competition for N21's Got Talent and I won. Woohoo! But I'm not actually from N21 either, so that was a bit of a cheat. How do you feel to have made it through the blind auditions? It feels amazing. I never thought this would happen to me, even though I dreamed of it happening. Hard work and perseverance is the key. Don't let no be an answer. Who or what is your biggest influence on your singing? I think that I always try and better myself and be the best I can be. It can be really hard because I'm such a perfectionist and have a hard time letting go, but I have something within me that doesn't want to rest on having natural talent. My favourite male and female singers that have influenced me are Celine Dion and Elvis. The Voice airs on BBC One on Saturday at 7 p.m. See more details about the London contestants for The Voice online at www.enfieldindependent.co.uk.
Rail users in Enfield have until Sunday, March the 13th, to have their say on plans to scrap ticket offices at 4 of the borough's stations. Views are being sought by transport watchdog London Travel Watch on train operator Govia Thameslink Railway's proposals to permanently close ticket offices at Enfield Chase, Palmer's Green, Gordon Hill and Winchmore Hill stations. It is part of closures affecting 44 stations across its network where fewer than 12 tickets an hour are sold. Staff will no longer occupy the ticket office and will instead hover on the station concourse selling tickets from handheld devices. It has led to concerns that manning levels will be reduced with fewer station staff to help passengers, particularly the elderly and disabled, who need extra assistance. But train operator Govia insists stations will be staffed for longer as a result of the changes which, if agreed by the Department of Transport, are scheduled to come into effect between June and September. To comment on the proposals, write to London Travel Watch, 169 Union Street, London, SE1 OLL, or email inquiries at londontravelwatch.org.uk with GTR ticket office changes in the subject line.
With 31 days dedicated to highlighting improved sleep, National Bed Month in March is the ideal time to get it right. And obvious though it might be, the best place to start when working towards a better night's sleep is your bed. Lisa Artis of the Sleep Council says, it's about reassuring your sleep quality and comfort levels, and our simple bed MOT, that's mattress obsolescence test, can help to determine if your bed has had its day and night. It's a 2-minute test that should be done every year after the first 3 to 5 years and every 6 months after that. So if you answer yes to 3 questions, you're not getting the best possible night's sleep. 5 or more yeses, and it's time to buy a new bed. So here we go. Here's the mattress obsolescence test. Is the mattress 7 years old or more? Would it be embarrassing if neighbours saw it without its covers? Does it make suspicious noises in the night? Do you have your best decent night's sleep in a bed other than yours? Are you waking up more frequently, unrefreshed and aching? Do you have enough space to sleep comfortably? Is the bed sagging? Does it feel lumpy in the night? Is the bed too small to give an undisturbed night's sleep? And is the divan or base uneven? And finally, are the legs and casters worn? Lisa adds, research shows buying a new bed can lead to a real improvement in sleep, up to an hour extra. And if you sleep better, you feel much better. Remember to buy as big a bed as you can, spend as much as you can, and afford to look out for the National Bed Federation's approved big tick logo to ensure you're buying a product that's safe, clean and honest. The right bed is extremely important to health and well-being because our sleeping environment will affect the quality of our sleep, which in turn has a big effect on how well we feel both physically and psychologically. A bed with the correct support, comfort and space will ensure you wake less, move about less, or are disturbed by your partner and are less likely to wake up feeling tired or aching. 2 free leaflets from the Sleep Council, the Bed Buyer's Guide, provide more information on how to improve the quality of your sleep and the different types of beds that are available. Call free phone on 0800 018 7923 or visit the website at www.sleepcouncil.org.uk.
Wow. That nearly put me to sleep, that article. I'm amazed that the Bed Association's logo features a big tick. Only one of the borough's MPs is calling for the UK to get out of the European Union. David Burrows, the Conservative MP for Enfield Southgate, is backing the Out campaign because he says the overwhelming concerns from his constituents focus on the pressure immigration from the EU places on public services, such as health, schools and housing. He says that rather than provide greater investment in these services, the best way to deal with the pressures would be to leave Europe. He insists that the deal Prime Minister David Cameron struck with the EU leaders in Brussels last week is not tough enough on immigration. He said, the harsh reality is that the EU is ill-equipped to deal with the divergent challenges of economic growth, recession, terrorism and migration. Far from providing security in an uncertain world, the EU's policies have become a source of instability and insecurity. However, both the borough's Labour MPs, Edmonton's Kate Osama and Enfield North's Joan Ryan, have poured scorn on the idea that economically Britain would be better out of the network of nations. Ms. Ryan told the Advertiser, "We have to go past party political divisions when it comes to jobs, trade and investment, and when it comes to defence, this would be a most serious and damaging step for Britain to leave Europe. I accept there are issues that have not always been dealt with in the best way. But you do not solve those issues by taking a sledgehammer to our economy. Voting to leave would be foolish and irresponsible. Miss Osamore, who is the Shadow Junior Minister for Women and Equalities, pointed to a litany of protections for the general population that would be lost if people voted to leave. Thanks to the European Union, we have stronger workers' rights, maternity rights, and protection from discrimination, she said. We need to work with our allies in Europe, build on this positive legislation and build a stronger Europe, a Europe of sustainable growth, jobs and social justice. She pointed to the fact that being within Europe protects residents from discrimination and ensures their human rights are protected. She added, "We are stronger in than we are out. Labour are the party of equality, and the European Union has protected us through its equality legislation." No doubt the debate will continue.
Callers to Enfield Council have been left hanging on the line after a sporadic phone meltdown in recent weeks. Residents who tried to report problems or get through to various departments, after reaching the recorded message providing different options, have complained that they did not get connected. Jill Bickerstaff, who lives in Enfield Town, wanted to report problems with rubbish collection and claimed she spent 3/4 of an hour on the phone. She said, "It's faceless. Not everybody can go online or go to the library to use a computer. There should be somebody in person answering the phone." A council spokeswoman admitted that problems had been caused by the overwhelmingly high volume of calls to its call centre. "We are aware that at times over the last couple of weeks, high call volumes have made it difficult to get through to customer services by phone," she said. "We apologise for the inconvenience. Residents are also able to use our new website to access our services. They may find this much quicker and easier than calling us, which enables us to continue to assist those who are unable to use the internet."
In the 4 months since the plastic bag charge came in, who has not quietly cursed when arriving at a supermarket checkout and suddenly remembering the ever-growing pile of bags for life stacked on the kitchen counter at home? However, it should comfort all to know that some of those 5p's will be poured into the borough's green spaces, as the most popular local environmental project will be awarded a grant to fund an element of the work. In Winchmore Hill, Tony Guyver, the driving force behind a scheme at Firs Farm, is hoping that the community project to nurture a wildlife haven with a network of flood-relieving wetlands and cycle paths through the natural wilderness will benefit from the grant money. "We have got the lovely new wetlands that are still being planted," Tony told the Advertiser. "We are doing so many improvements in the park for wildlife, and we are putting in activities for everyone in the local community to make it a green space everyone can use and benefit from. The wetlands are being created on little used football pitches that have been slowly deteriorating for more than 30 years. And so we want to encourage other people to come along to the wetlands and find out about the work being done. And to do that, we need notice boards telling people about the open space at both the Winchmore Hill entrance and the entrance to the park on the A10 in Edmonton. The boards would serve an educational purpose. They would give people information on who to contact about getting involved with the scheme. They would let people know what there is on the site in terms of wildlife and nature," added the chairwoman of the Friends of Firs Farm. The group behind the wetland scheme bagged £175,000 in funding for the flood relief system and cycle paths through the park from the Greater London Authority last year, after they won favour in a public vote for Londoners to choose their favourite community and environmental project. Now Tony is calling on supporters of the wetlands to get involved again, as in order to win the grant funding from Tesco, residents need to go into their local store to vote for the Firs Farm scheme to be awarded money. This project makes the environment nicer for everyone, and notice boards would really help us reach out to the community on all sides of the park, she said. For information about how to vote and support Tony and her team, visit www.tesco.com/carrierbags.
A shopkeeping duo are looking forward to putting their feet up after selling their newsagents that they have run for over 36 years in Enfield. Brothers Hasmukh, 67, and Mahendra Shah, 62, will retire from working at bestsellers on Church Street this Saturday after deciding to make a change and take it easy. Mahendra said, "My first plan for me after I retire is to take a long holiday somewhere very sunny and relaxing. I usually work a 12-hour day from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, every day of the week, so it will be strange to readjust my life. Lately, I've been so busy with the arrangements to sell the shop that I haven't even had time to think about what I want to do with the next stage of my life, but I'm very much looking forward to that change." Born in Kenya, the younger of the Shahs moved to Britain in 1972, where he worked in a bank for a few years before realising that he wanted to own his very own business. He opened Bestsellers in 1980 and began running it with his older brother, with customers visiting from all over London, including Edmonton, Potters Bar and Barnet. Mahendra, who now lives in East Barnet, says it will be interesting for him to revisit the shop as a customer rather than as a shopkeeper. He added, "It will be strange to visit the shop after I retire, but I didn't want to leave it behind and never return, as I have had a lifetime of memories within it. It's been more like a home for me over the years, as I spent so much time there when the actual house that I actually live in." He admits that now the shop has been sold, he is not sure whether it will remain a newsagent's, but he hopes that even if the shop disappears, he will still be able to see some of his regular customers while he's out and about. "The customers are the best memories I have from the shop," he said, "and I will miss them the most after I retire. So I've got to know them so well when they would visit for their morning paper or buy drinks or cigarettes. They became my closest friends. I would like to thank all of my customers for all their support over the years, as without them, the shop would not have been the shop I really miss."
Scouts from across the borough took part in the largest hike across southern England the organisation has ever seen. Young people from Enfield, Edmonton and Southgate were among the 400 participants from across the UK, a record, in the annual Southern 50 Hiking Challenge in the Chiltern Hills. The Southern 50 is a winter hiking competition involving taking on one of the 3 tough routes of up to even 50 miles, which must be completed in less than 24 hours. Rachel Buck, a 14-year-old explorer scout from Bushnell Park, said, "I loved taking part in the Southern 50. It was a great challenge in the Chiltern Hills. I couldn't believe it when it started to snow." Scout Ellie Way, aged 16, said, "It was cold and wet and muddy, but we had a great time. When it got dark, it seemed to get even muddier, and we were sliding everywhere." Rachel and Ellie's team completed the smaller 30-kilometre event in 14 hours and 3 minutes. Enfield was also represented by teams of explorer scouts and leaders from Edmonton, Winchmore Hill, Clay Hill and Southgate. Enfield County Commissioner Jack Kane, who led a team on the 50-mile route, said, "It's brilliant to see so many young people taking on an outdoor adventure in the winter. It's hard work, but great fun, with a real sense of achievement that lasts longer than the aching legs afterwards. Chief Scout Bear Grylls said, "I think it's so hard for young people to get out and experience the outdoors. Scouting provides a safe way to explore the outdoors. They're going to have an adventure, but they're going to do it with people they know and trust and be looked after."
The council has denied it is flogging off books from a library as part of a downsizing plan which will see the authority narrow its focus onto just 4 flagship libraries in the borough. Last week, the Advertiser witnessed a van emblazoned with the logo webuybooks.co.uk being loaded with boxes of books taken from inside the John Jackson Library in Agricola Place, Bush Hill Park. This paper has reported on concerns of residents in Main Avenue, Bush Hill Park, that they are seeing the gradual erosion of their library after Eldon Primary School in Edmonton took over the lease. Former physics teacher Michael Hardiman, who lives in Bush Hill Park, said that over the past 3 months he had seen the permanent closure of the music room in the library, fewer desks for students to study on, and a gradual reduction in bookshelves and IT terminal space throughout the library. However, the council is adamant it is not selling off all the books in the library as a way to raise some quick cash. A council spokeswoman said the collection van was merely part of routine stock management. She added, "Every year we dispose of a number of books that are no longer suitable for use by the library service, either because they are out of date, rarely borrowed, or in an unacceptably poor condition. This has happened for many years and in all libraries, and creates room for the thousands of new books purchased each year." She said that the books are sold to a private profit-making company, Revival Books, which either sells them on again or pulps them for recycling. Each year, the council says that 47,000 books are sold off, raising £3,300. Although the spokeswoman stressed that John Jackson Library is still under local authority control, she admitted it was one of 13 in the borough that are being leased to community groups and third-party organisations, such as schools, as a way of bringing in an income and reducing our costs. She added, "We are one of the few councils in London who have kept all their libraries open in these tough economic times, and Enfield Council is committed to a comprehensive library service that meets the needs of the community. The community libraries will continue to provide the services that are essential to any public library, and we will ensure the important principle of universal access to the library service remains paramount."
Residents will see their council tax go up for the first time in 6 years. Plans will raise council tax 1.99% on top of the new diktat from central government that local authorities must raise money for adult health and social care by adding 2% to council tax bills. However, the leader of Enfield Council, Doug Taylor, says this will not mean that bills will go up by almost 4%, as the Olympic levy that was imposed throughout London ends this year, meaning in real terms bills will only rise by 1.78%. As well as debating the budget for the coming year, at the meeting of the full council, Mr Taylor launched his campaign for fair funding. He argues that at the moment, under the way local authorities are given money by central government, Enfield is losing out in terms of how money is allocated. When the new funding formula was established for Enfield in 2013, the government established that it would remain unchanged until 2020. However, this worries council chiefs, who point out that the borough has changed in all manner of ways since 2013, with massive migration from central London affecting Enfield in the last 2 years. On top of that, Mr Taylor argues, council services are bearing the brunt of welfare cuts, including the introduction of the housing benefit cap and universal credit. The council has a statutory duty to protect children, he said. No one wants to see homeless children or families living on the street, so the council has to step in. And Mr Taylor says that the growing need of the population, with 60% of children in Edmonton classed as living in poverty, is not factored into the current formula. The way the funding formula was calculated in 2013, and will remain on the same level, is based on population, and the council points out that it should be focused on need, and the government should be looking at renewing how it is calculated each year. When I talk about fairness in allocating money to councils, I mean fairness based on population increase and population characteristics, said Mr Taylor. For example, Westminster Council has been given a grant that equates to £917.59 per person in their borough. However, here in Enfield, we have the equivalent of just £496.10 per person. Mr Taylor adds that due to the level of need in Enfield, the government needs to look again at how the grants given to local authorities are calculated. He said, what has been happening is that there has been an improvement in inner London boroughs, but places like Enfield have seen a worsening of their position in terms of the numbers of people living in poverty, living in temporary accommodation, as people move out of central London due to the high cost of rent and move to outer London. He says he will not be standing in Parliament Square waving a placard, but the local authority will be putting together a campaign to lobby central government over increasing the amount of grant funding it receives.
In line for the £1,000 up for grabs to Enfield charities is the Ark, the latest nominee in our great giveaway with mobile phone provider Vodafone. The Ark provides support services for children, young people and their families in the borough, and the cash, it says, will be put to very good use should they be chosen as the worthy cause most deserving of that windfall. Any charity can be entered for the competition which the Enfield Advertiser is running in conjunction with the Enfield branch of Vodafone as part of the company's Community Connection Awards scheme. But you'll need to get your nominations in quickly because the deadline is 4 p.m. on Thursday, March the 3rd. The Ark, based in March House in Montague Road, Edmonton, was founded more than 20 years ago and works closely with the community, offering information, advice and support for children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities, a counselling service and a mentoring service both for children and young people alike. If we won the £1,000, we would like to set up a participation group for the children and young people who use our services to give them a voice on what services they would like to see from us and in the local area, and to offer them some training in self-advocacy, assertiveness and public speaking, said the Chief Executive, Judith Mulligan. It would help us to set up the group, hire rooms, provide resources and train and refreshments, she's added. So if you know of a charity or deserving project that could benefit from £1,000, do send your nomination to competitions@nlhnews.co.uk with Vodafone in the subject line, or to Vodafone Community Connection Award, North London and Herts Newspapers, 187 Baker Street, Enfield, EN1 3JT.
We've now reached the end of our programme for this week. Thanks for listening. So, from the team of Sonia, Jenny, Roz, myself and Colin on the controls, it's goodbye. Bye.